Hello there and welcome to this advanced digital LinkedIn training for job seekers, professionals and contractors. In the next 90 minutes I'm going to show you how to position yourself as a leader in your sector even if you have little experience or have been out of work. Now the way we're going to work is we're going to have two separate webinars, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 will be focusing on your profile, part 2 will be focusing on your network and positioning yourself as the expert in your niche. One of the things I'm going to show you, I'm going to demonstrate an actual case study, how a client was out of work for 12 months and within 2 weeks had an interview for a 105,000 role. Now what's very interesting is she'd not only been out of work for 12 months, the highest paid role she had before was $70,000. And she did this through a strategy I'm going to share with you very shortly. So the method of training is the following. I'm going to take you into a live session in LinkedIn. You're going to pause the video, you're going to open LinkedIn and you're going to implement what I'm showing you. Then in the accompanying book, in the workbook, you're going to check off the different elements that I'm walking you through. So that's the method of implementation. So starting from now, within 90 minutes your profile will be overhauled, completely changed, and it'll be written in a way that you'll be positioned as an expert. So why LinkedIn? Well, 89% of recruiters have made a hire through LinkedIn. 89%. And just 26% through Facebook and 15% through Twitter. So it's absolutely key that your LinkedIn profile is now, number 1, positioning you as an expert. Number 2, that recruiters can actually find you. So the agency you're working with, it's really important that for them, to assist them, that your profile is written in a way that you're a sellable proposition, that you're different from the competitors. And also what's key is that when your interviewer checks you out on LinkedIn, that he likes what he sees. And we're going to go through the fundamentals of that very shortly. So the actual layout for the two parts, part 1 and part 2, are the following. In part 1, we're going to focus on your profile and how to sell yourself to your interviewer. The second part of part 1 is we're going to show you how to have top of results to get found by your interviewer. So that's, if you can imagine, on Google, businesses want to be at the top of Google. So when someone searches for, let's say, a new car, they look at the results at the top of the page. They might not even go to page 2, page 3, page 4. Exactly the same with LinkedIn. So in your niche, there could be, let's say you work in the IT field, there could be 1,000 people who are in your particular field in your city. We want to make sure that you come in the top 10, if not number 1, so you're found by your interviewer. Then part 2, we're going to move into looking at your network. So number 3 there is build a network of opportunity to make sure you're connected to the right individuals. So I'm going to show you how to build your network, even if you're starting from scratch with just zero connections, how you can have a reach of up to 10 million and more so within 7 days. And then very interestingly, we're going to move into number 4, positioning strategy for you to win the role. Now this will elevate you above your competition, guaranteed. This will help your recruiter place you. I'm going to give you some strategies which are so cutting edge that we have charged thousands of pounds for similar trainings to demonstrate how to do this. So what you're getting is very, very under the radar and the very, very advanced strategies. So the first thing we're going to do, I want you to open LinkedIn. I want you to go to privacy and settings, privacy controls, then turn on off your activity broadcasts. Now the reason why we're doing this is so when you make changes to your profile, your network is not notified. If you do not switch this off, all the changes you make to your profile, your network will be notified. At the moment, we don't want to do that. We want your network to know about your updated profile when it's complete. So for now, we're going to do this. So I'm going to go into LinkedIn also. And what I want you to do is click on privacy and settings on the right hand side. Let's log back in again. So privacy and settings, then you come down here to turn on off your activity broadcasts. I'm going to click on this, then this box will open. It will probably be checked when you open it. I want you to uncheck it. So to recap, privacy and settings, turn on off your activity broadcasts, then you're going to uncheck it. And I'm going to give you 10 seconds to do that. So we're all done, wonderful. And then you're going to click Save Changes. So now going back to the notes. Module 1, a profile to sell yourself to your interviewer. So this here is a LinkedIn user heat map. So this is some software we have that tells us when someone comes to your profile, what do they look at? And as you can see, the thing they look at first is the photo. Then if they decide to stay on your page, they scroll down to the headline, then down to your experience, and eventually down to the summary. So that's the first thing I want you to think about, your photo. I cannot stress this enough, it has to be business attire, relevant to your job. It should not be you coming out from a club, it should not be of you with 4 or 5 other people, it should not be you looking seductive in a low cut top. It should be business attire that makes you look professional. It makes you look the right person, the right candidate for the role. Absolutely key. Number 2, moving down into your headline. We'll come to your headline in a bit. And then as you see, they scroll down to your current and past experience, across the page and down to your summary. Now we're going to go through these elements, but the key thing I want you to note from this page is how important your picture is. When someone comes to your profile, they make a decision in 2 to 7 seconds whether to stay on your profile or leave your profile. So that's the first thing. This LinkedIn strategy, everything you do on LinkedIn is about you getting a job. It's not about you looking cool. It's not about you being in contact with your friends. This is about you getting a position. This is going to grow with your career. LinkedIn's going nowhere. So it's really key that you treat your LinkedIn profile as a business asset. So the first thing I want to do is go into keywords. Now very briefly, keywords. When someone searches for you, so let's say I'm going to go into LinkedIn. If I type in the box up here, Java development, you'll see it brings back these people. Now what we want to do, we want you to be on the front page. So we want you to be at the top of the results. So if you're in the Java development field, if your keyword is if you're a Java developer, so we change it to Java developer, but we want you to be on this front page. That's what we're looking to do. So you can see here we've got over 1 million results for Java development. So what we want to do is we want you to be on the front page here above all of your competition. That means you're more likely to get found by your interviewer, which makes your recruiter's job easier. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So a keyword is going to be the primary words you have in your profile. So if you're in the Java development field, it could be Java developer. If you're in the accountancy field, it could be accountant, it could be CMA accountant. If you're in the interim management field, it could be interim management. But the key thing I want you to do is to think about the keywords we're going to use now. So what I'm going to do is take you to a really cool tool called Wordle.net. Type in Wordle.net and you will come to this page. Now this is a word cloud technology. So what that means is it takes a lot of data and it gives you the primary results in that data. So if you have a set of data, it gives you the most used keywords in that set of data. So if we look at an example here, I've gone to JobServe and I've taken Java Developer. I've taken this job spec, and what I'm going to do is just copy and paste that into Wordle. So you click and create your own. I'm going to go to next job. And I want you to do this also. Whatever job you're looking for, I want you to find the relevant job board. It might be JobServe, it might be another one. And I want you to take 10 to 20 thorough job descriptions. And I want you to paste them in here. I've done just 3. I want you to do 10 to 20. I want you to click Go. Now what's going to happen is, all being well, Wordle is then going to tell me what are the most primary keywords out of that set of data. And there we go. So the main keywords they use in those 3 job specs are Java, not surprisingly, development, not surprisingly, because it's Java developer roles. But we've got XML as a primary keyword. We've got products as a primary keyword. So what products are they relating to? We've got agile as a primary keyword. Team is key. Clients is king. So you may need client-facing experience. You may need team leadership, team building experience. Have to check the job specs a bit more thoroughly. SQL is a keyword. So what you can see here is for the job specs I've looked at, these are the keywords that jump out. Now with you, I want you to do exactly the same. Find the roles you're looking for and to do exactly the same. And what you'll find is you'll see the keywords which are most primary in those roles. Now the reason why we do that is because we get stuck in our own world. We think we know what the keywords are in our own industry. Sometimes we get it wrong. We've had clients who've had the wrong keywords because they've assumed they knew what people were looking for. In the Java example, one of our clients was a developer. He called himself a coder. As you can see, coder's not in here once. A coder is actually the same as a developer, but it's just a change of language. So when a recruiter's doing a search for Java developer, he isn't going to find you on LinkedIn if you've made your profile about Java coder and that you're a Java coder. So you need to use the same language as your companies you're looking to do business with and work with, and as your recruiter wants you to. So that's really important. Use the language of the job specs. Don't assume you know the right language. So when you've gone through this process, you'll have a set of keywords. Now what I suggest you do is you choose the primary one. So in this case it'd be Java development or Java developer. And then choose a secondary one, maybe 2 or 3. So in this case he might choose XML, for example. I don't know because I'm not a developer. He could be a team leader. He might be going for a team leader role. Again, depends on the individual. But you select a handful of keywords. You need a primary keyword. So in this case, be Java developer. And to recap, 2 or 3 other secondary keywords. Now, some people have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 keywords, and that's completely up to you. But I recommend keep it tight as possible, and if you can just have a primary set and 1 or 2 summaries, that's perfect. So with those keywords and with this process, you now have an idea of what the companies are actually advertising for, and your recruiter can also help you just to clarify you got the right keywords. So at this stage we've identified what the main keywords are we're going to use on our profile. Now I want you to park the keywords for 1 second. We'll come back to that. This is a mindset shift for you. When someone looks at your profile, nobody cares that you've been a Java developer for 15 years. Nobody cares that you've got 4 degrees and you've got X amount of experience. All they want to know is, what can you do for my business? And by that I mean, if you start working with this company tomorrow, what results are you going to get them? We live in a fast-paced economy at the moment, a very challenging, a very stressful, a very competitive, fast-paced economy. Everyone is looking for results, quick results. Nobody's looking for fluff. And going back about 10, 15 years in the city of London, there was a time where it was very much a case of who you knew would get you a role. Nowadays, it's all based on results. You have to be results driven. And even if you are referred, your profile needs to reflect that you are a leader in your niche. So this is what we're going to do. I want you to have a mind shift and start to think about, what do your potential new business and new clients want from you? So what can you do for them if you started working for them? Always think, what's in it for me model. Because when they look at your profile, when they speak to you, all they're going to think is, what's in it for me? What can you do for them? And this is what it's around. Results and outcomes. Your new employer wants results and outcomes. Your recruiter can sell you to the employer and position you as the natural choice if you've got results and outcomes. Everybody has been, nowadays lots of people have got degrees. Lots of people have been working for 10 years. But what results and outcomes have you got in that time? That's key. So you need to take your shift away from, I've been a Java developer for 10 years, nobody cares. It's important and it should have a line in your profile, but it's nowhere near as important as you saved the project £250,000 with a new piece of functionality you created, or the fact that you took a failing project through to conclusion. Whatever it might be, you need to focus on what you can do for the client, and they want results and outcomes. So here's an example here of a profile. So as you'll see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and as we move down into 5 key areas. Now what I want you to do is have a quick scan of that. I'm going to give you 15 to 30 seconds to scan that, read through it, and then I'm going to take you through what it means, line by line. Okay, so this here is a profile which had great success. Starting at the top, summary. A senior sales manager, business development manager and national account manager with a proven track record of delivering and exceeding sales targets. So what have we done there? This first area is a very short summary. As I said, when someone comes to your profile, they make a decision in 2 to 7 seconds. So if you just write down a big paragraph of text, no one's going to read it. They're probably going to move on to someone else. They haven't got the time. They make a snap decision. So in that very first sentence, it's only a line and a half long. We know that this chap is a senior sales manager, a business development manager and a national account manager. We know he's got a proven track record of delivering and exceeding sales targets. Now the language we've used here is because this chap is in the sales industry. The roles he was going for are senior sales manager, BDM and national account manager. So as you'll see, we've started to draw up the keywords in here in a very subtle way. So straight away, with that first part, we can see what the chap is about. Second part, who I am. I'm a senior sales manager leader with an 18-year proven track record, known throughout the industry for delivering and sustaining revenue and profit gains within highly competitive markets. Exceptional communicator with a consultative sales style, strong negotiation skills, exceptional problem solving abilities and a keen client needs aptitude. Aggressively identifying opportunities and develop team focus and provide tactical business solutions. So what have we done here? We've taken some key pivotal points about this chap. 1, he has been in the business 18 years. 2, we very subtly dropped in some social proof. He's known throughout the industry for delivering and sustaining revenue and profit gains. So very subtly, we've started to make it clear to the reader of the profile, this chap is not just saying this, it's known throughout the industry. The key elements that we've then mentioned are, he's in a highly competitive market, he's a great communicator, he has strong negotiation skills. with his consultative style, exceptional problem solving, and so forth. Now, all of these are key traits that are needed for a senior sales manager. That type of role also needs someone aggressively. So he's not said, I'm aggressive. He said, I'm aggressively identifying opportunities. So again, he's not been direct and said, I am wonderful, I am great, which is what most people do, and it just goes off a duck's back. He's done it very subtly and indirectly. So this who I am needs to be a very short, very sharp statement of who you are and what you can do and what results you can get. It needs to be short. Now, the key element of the profile is this, and this is where we get very clever. Section 3, proven sales, account and business development management track record, key attributes. Now, if you're a savvy candidate, which I know you are, what you're going to do is this. You're going to identify the top 8 to 15 results you've achieved in your past career. Now, this is going to be key for a number of reasons. Number one, when somebody scans your profile, it's going to jump out of them what you've achieved. But number two, when you get to interview, you're then going to drill down on each of these results and it will form the basis of your interview. So if you get thrown a curveball at the interview, you can reference back to one of your results. Now, this is great for you for a number of reasons. Number one, you're always going to have these results in the bank. You're going to know them back to front when you get to your interview. Number two, it's reinforced to the interviewer as they check your profile. They will see that you're referencing facts and you're then referencing these in the interview. So it gives that solidity and consistency in your communication with your interviewer. Very often people state ABC on a CV, on LinkedIn, then they get to the interview and the two don't match up. You're doomed to failure. So what I want you to do here is identify 8 to 15 results that you've achieved. Now I'm going to take you through a handful of these now. Number one, account managed end users to ensure near 100 subscription sales renewal rate. Number two, responsible for growing UK sales from 3 million to 5 million. Number three, increase managed accounts revenue by 25% sales. Number four, recruit and develop 10 channel partners, including agreement of 4 key partners. Now, what have we done here? Every single one of these is a very, very clear result. And what we've also done is been very specific. We haven't said that I was team leader for 4 years and the project went great. What we've done is we've give actual figures. So for number two, he could have said, I grew UK sales by a large margin, or I grew UK sales by almost double. But he hasn't done that. He's been specific. He's given the actual figures, 3 million to 5 million. Number three, I've increased revenue by 25%. I've done it through upselling and cross-selling. So you can see how that will then lead into a question in the interview. But this here, the way this is languaged, is based on results and outcome for the client. That's all we want you to do. Think about results and outcome for the client. So if you're going on to a new project at the client, you know what the project is. What key outcomes have you achieved that would really drive that project moving forward? So you think about your history, and this is basically a brainstorming exercise, and you'll start off, I suggest take an hour out and you just write down for each of your roles as much information as possible, as many outcomes as possible, because what you're going to do is for each of your roles, you're not going to have just a load of narrative, a load of text just dumped there like most people do. For each of your roles on LinkedIn, you're going to list the outcomes and the results. So when someone comes to your profile, they can see your summary, they can go to your past experience, and unlike everyone else, yours will be results, bang, 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 outcomes, bang, 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 bang. No waffle, no I am great, no I've been in business 10 years, nobody cares. Yours will be results driven. So just to recap, what you're going to do is for each of your roles, you're going to write down all of the results, all of the outcomes, and get very specific. Then you're then going to take the main 8 to 15 which are relevant to the position you're going for, or positions, and you're going to add them into your summary. The remainder you're going to add to your other roles. And for each of your other roles, your past experience, you're going to do a similar layout. You can do a very brief summary of that role. You're then going to move down into your proven track record for that role, and then you're going to use your specifics. Now what you're also going to do in here, you're going to use your keywords. So your keywords, let's say if it's Java development, what you're going to do is you're going to drop your keywords in here into the profile a number of times. You're going to drop it in there in the summary, in who I am, but you're not going to make it look spammy. I'm going to show you what not to do very shortly, but you're going to just drop your keywords in there very subtly. So that's how I want you to structure your profile. That's how I want you to go through the steps to identify your outcomes. And your specific roles down here, for the roles you've managed in the past, or roles you've held in the past, I want you to add them down here. But again, use your keywords. So if you're in the Java development field, if you can make your past roles relevant to Java development, do so. Okay then. So what I want you to do is to open LinkedIn. And give you a second to get back into LinkedIn. And on your profile, I want you to come to your profile. Just close this. I want you to make these changes. So now I'm hoping you've taken the time out and you've listed your results and outcomes. If you haven't done that, pause the video, and I want you to list your results and outcomes. Then what you're going to do is the following. The first thing, in your headline here, I want you to take your keyword and I want you to place it in here a number of times. So if your keyword is Java development, I want you to have Java development in your title a number of times. So to do that, you simply click on Edit Profile. So if you're in Java development, you might say Java developer expert team leader, and that's what I'm using here is the pipe. So this little thing here, the pipe, on the Mac is on the right hand side above the shift key. So it just separates the headline. So when you take a keyword and think about how you can use the role that you've held and the roles you held in the future you want to hold, how you can use your keyword and add it in there a number of times. So you're not just going to copy and paste Java development, but you're going to do it a number of times. Now the reason why is because LinkedIn has what they call a keyword density score, and the higher the keyword density score, the higher you'll come in the search results. So remember we said we want to come at the top of the search results? You do that by having a high keyword density score. Now I'm going to go through that with you in detail in a minute, but what I want you to do is start to think about your keyword and how you can place it in your profile. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through where to add your keyword in your profile and why you need to do it. So going back to Java development, if we do a search for Java developer, so as you can see, there's 855,000 results. This chap has been number one in mine. And these guys are moving down. What we want to do is you'll see that he's the first connection, then second connection, but then of the second connections, why is this chap first and that chap is second, and so forth. We want you to build your network in a way whereby all of your relevant contacts, so your future employers and so forth, their first connections, or that you're at least in their network as a second degree. So it's important how you build your network, which we'll come to in a bit. But what I want you to do is think about how you can come top of the page. And you do that by, number one, being connected to the right people, which we'll come to. But then number two is where you place your keywords in your profile. So this is the profile, and I'm going to take you through where you place your keywords in a second. But just moving on, before we get into that, let's go through the actual content on your profile. So we've discussed your summary and what you're going to do on your summary. For your past experience, I want you to take the same approach, and I want you to take results and place it in your past experience. Now, there's some key factors that we need to discuss. Recommendations. Recommendations on LinkedIn are key. Now, what I recommend you do is you contact your previous employers, for those who you know will give you a good recommendation. And again, you ask them for a recommendation, but this is what you do. You do not just say, please can you write a recommendation on my time at ABC Limited. You contact your previous line manager and you ask them, can you please write a recommendation, but can you please base it on the following outcomes and results I achieve for you. So you actually tell them what you want them to write. Of course, it needs to be ethical, but a recommendation that says you're a nice guy and you're in on time and you wore nice shoes is not going to get you very far. You want recommendations that are very clear and very discreet about what you achieved. So I want you to get recommendations for each of your roles. Now, ideally, if you've got 1 to 3 for each role, that'd be great. 3 would be ideal. Any more than that, fabulous, but you do not have to go overboard and have 10, 15, 20 for each role. If you can get 3 for each role, fabulous, and make them results based, absolutely key. So with recommendations, there's an etiquette. Number 1, you can either contact your line manager or your previous employer and ask them directly. Number 2, you can give a recommendation. So if you give out 10 recommendations, generally you'll receive 5 back, and it's just an etiquette on LinkedIn. So that's what you do in terms of your recommendations, but you make them results driven. Now, the vanity URL and public URL, I'm going to show you what to do here. If we come back into LinkedIn, so I'm going to give you a second just to open LinkedIn. So hopefully you should all be on LinkedIn now. Now, come to the right hand side. You're going to click on privacy and settings. You're going to scroll down and you're going to click on edit your public profile. Now this here allows you to either be searchable or not searchable. So what I want you to do is to click on make my public profile visible to everyone. That's if you're making it public that you're looking for another role. If you're not, keep it visible to no one. And then you click on what you want made available. I suggest if you want it open, you click on all of these, so they're all checked. But what I want to show you is this. This down here is called your public profile URL. If you click on this box will come up. So most people's profiles have this sort of layout. It's just random numbers. It might have your name or some letters from your name at the end of it. Very random. That's what most profiles come as. Now what I want you to do is you can select your own keywords. So if you're in Java development, what I do is I would have Java Developer London. And it's available. So I can now set that as my custom URL. So if someone types in Java Developer London, this is now going to help my keyword. It's going to help my search when people search for a Java Developer London. So you can set your custom URL to anything you want if it's available. So if I wanted to do my surname, do my name, it's not available. So they've given the options of the following. But I actually recommend you choose a keyword that's relevant to the position you're going for. So I said, if I'm a Java Developer in London, I think I might do that. Is it available? Great. Set custom URL. And if I scroll down, you see there, Java Developer London. Now this is great for a number of reasons. You can add that to your business card. You can add that to your outgoing emails, and it gives you a bit more positioning that you are the Java Developer for London on LinkedIn. Pretty powerful stuff. Most people do not take advantage of this. So I want you to think about the role you're moving for, and I want you to make that your custom URL. You may need to chop and change a bit depending if it's been taken or not, but you'll soon see what works and what doesn't work. So that's your custom vanity URL. As I mentioned, your public profile. You click on everything and so forth. You click it on and then you make it public. If you're actually in a position and you're testing the waters and you can't make it public, of course you have it available to no one. So that's your public profile and vanity URL. Now add media, very, very simple and also very, very powerful. Click on profile, edit profile. See on the summary, you've got your edit, which you're going to use to edit this, but also all you do is click on add video. So you add a link. Now what you need to do is the media you're using, whether it's a PowerPoint presentation, whether it be a video, you check out the supported providers. So this will give you a list of the companies and businesses you can use to host your media. So as you'll see here, let's say for example you've got a video you've done of, if you place it on Animoto or you place it on YouTube, all you simply do is then go to YouTube and you add the link in here. So if you've got a PowerPoint presentation, which would be a fantastic one, place it on SlideShare for example, all you do is go to SlideShare, create an account on SlideShare, upload your presentation, get the link from SlideShare, add the link here, simple as that. Very, very powerful. So if you've got any presentations you've done from previous employers, I recommend you get them on your summary and also on your past experience if it's relevant. So that's simply it for adding media. Very, very simple but very, very powerful. When someone scans your profile, it does set you apart from your competition. So I would look at adding media. But again, there's hundreds of different options of who you can use. As you can see here, all these different providers. Very simple. Spelling, grammar check. Stating the obvious. Do check your profile for spelling and grammar check. What I recommend you do for each of your roles and for your summary, copy and paste it into Microsoft Word or the equivalent and do a spelling and grammar check. If you're going to be advanced, you can use a tool like Grammarly, Grammarly.com I believe, which is a grammar tool which will tell you what's right and what's wrong about the text you have. I believe it's very, very cheap to use. But you of course need to have the right language, the right spelling and the right grammar on your profile. I'm stating the obvious there, but you'd be amazed how many people who do not have that. Now buzzwords. Buzzwords. I'm not going to give you a list of the buzzwords to use or do not use, but I'm going to give you this insight. If you do a Google search, depending on where you are in the world and depending on your niche and so forth, and depending when you search, if you do a search for LinkedIn buzzwords, so I'm not going to list them here because they may change over the next month or two. But if you do a search for LinkedIn buzzwords, it will bring back the top 10 most used words on LinkedIn. Now, these words are not going to set you apart as a leader in your niche, so I recommend you do not use them. There may be one or two where you have to use them. For example, analytical might be one of them, and if you're a business analyst, of course it's relevant. But do not think by listing, I'm a problem solver, I'm enthusiastic, I'm a team player, you're going to get very far. It's going to have the opposite effect. So do a search on Google for LinkedIn buzzwords. It will bring back the latest set of buzzwords that everybody's using. Be very careful about using these. Using them at all or in depth. Okay, so what we've done there first of all is we looked at the content of your profile. The key thing you need to look at is the results and outcomes. Everything you're doing in your profile, you're making yourself different from your competition. Everything you're doing is to position you as an expert. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to get you and show you how to be top of the results so you get found by the interviewer. So I've touched on keywords and why they're important. I've touched on where we're going to start to place them with the headline. Now we're going to go through in detail where you place them fully on your profile. Now remember what we're doing here. The intent for this is for you to be found on LinkedIn. Now LinkedIn is the recruiters and candidate search engine. It's the equivalent of Google but for recruitment and for employers looking for you. So basically think about LinkedIn like Google. Businesses pay thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to be at the top of Google. Now I'm going to show you how to do the same on LinkedIn. Last year there were 5.3 billion searches on LinkedIn. There are 172,000 searches every day. 172,000 people joined every day last year. There are 11 million UK members, 74 US members, and it will become the globe's dominant and main candidate database. Dominating LinkedIn is like Google for Business. It's no longer nice just to be on LinkedIn and hope you get found. It's now essential that you employ what I'm about to show you. So to become the number one profile on LinkedIn, or at least get on the front page of LinkedIn, you need to do the following. And what will happen is it will take your profile views from 0 to up to possibly hundreds. At least you'll see an objective improvement in the number of views you get. But the key thing is you get found by interviewers. Now you get found by being in the right network, which we'll come to in the next module, but then also being at the top of your keyword search. So this is what you do to ensure that you are found by your interviewer and employer. Number one, you define your keywords. We've done that in Wordle. Number two, you place your keywords in your headline, which I've started to show you. We're going to come to that. Then in your current job title optimization, past job title, your summary, current job description, and past job description. Now what I want you to do is on the accompanying worksheets, I want you to ensure that you check off each of these as you work through them. So with your keywords, we've got the key elements of the keywords. We've used Wordle. What I want you to do is to now start to check off the different elements. So first of all, I'm looking at module 1 and the checklist. You've defined your keyword in the job spec. You define the language used by employers using Wordle. Now you're going to create a keyword-rich headline. I'm going to take you through now. You defined your outcomes and roles for your past experiences. You defined your key outcomes for your summary. You've updated all your role descriptions to be outcome-based. 3 recommendations per role. Vanity URL. You've checked your public profile, you've added media for each role, and your buzzwords. So that's your checklist for module 1. Now module 2, we're going to go through each of these now, and I'm going to show you what to do on your profile. So these are the primary steps. If you take your keyword, so let's say it's Java development, and you place it in your headline as per number 2, you place it in your current job title a number of times, place it in your past job title, your summary, place it in your current job description, place it in your past job description. If you do this, you'll get ranked high on LinkedIn. Now LinkedIn has what they call a keyword density score, a KDS, a keyword density score. Now the key thing with the keyword density score, as it sounds, the number of times the keyword appears in your profile, the higher you will be on the keyword density score. So we need to ensure you have a high keyword density score, but you don't just copy and paste your keyword hundreds of times, because you may get in trouble with LinkedIn. I'm going to show you an example in a minute of what not to do. But I want you to start to think about your keyword. You're going to place it in your headline, in your current job title, in your past job title, in your summary, in your current job description, and your past job description. So I want you to pause this now. I want you to go to your current job title, your past job title, your summary, your current job description, your past job description, and see how you can fit your keyword into that. Now with your headline, I want you to take the following approach. You've got two key options. Number one, you can write a headline that says Java development, then use the pipe as I showed you. Then it could be team leader of Java developers, pipe, but you're going to get your keyword in there 2, maybe 3 times. LinkedIn's keyword density score, the scores given to you by different elements of your profile, which I'll show you. But I want you to think about your keyword and where you're going to place it. So I want you to do that now. I want you to pause it. I want you to write out your profile as we've shown you for your summary. I want you to use your keyword in there a number of times, not so it looks spammy, but just subtly. So I want you to pause that and do that 1 second. Welcome back. So we've worked on the primary steps. If you've taken your keyword and you placed it in your profile as I've said, you will then see that your profile will be higher on the rankings, and we're going to go through an example in a minute. But there are some key elements as well with your profile and why your profile will be ranked higher on LinkedIn. Your network needs to be built strategically, and we're going to show you how to do that. Number 2, you need to have your keywords and your skills and so forth. It needs to be referenced. Your endorsements need to be relevant to your keyword. So if you're a Java developer but you've got no endorsements in Java development, you need to fix that. Your anchor text and web addresses, this is less important nowadays. Virtually all profiles, I believe, now have the updated version of websites, so this probably isn't relevant, but I've placed it in there just on the off chance some of you have an old style LinkedIn profile. What this means is when you reference your website, you rather than just say website, WEBSITE, you actually put your website name in there. So say for example you worked at Ford, rather than put I worked at and it will say company website in the profile, make sure it says Ford. So I'll give you an example. Let's do a search for this chap. So you see here, when you click on these, WebSense, Gemalto, Interion, on some old versions of LinkedIn it would say company website. Now all of you should have the new version, but I'm just added that just in the off chance that you haven't. If you do have the old version, make sure you put the company name in so it looks like that. So anchor text and web addresses, group memberships and your own groups. We're going to come to that in a minute, but you have the option of being a member of 50 groups. You need to be a member of all 50 groups. So what does this mean? On LinkedIn you can join 50 groups. Some people will recommend that you join 10 alumni groups, 10 fun groups, 10 hobby groups, 10 company groups. No, LinkedIn is a business asset. Use it as such. Join 50 groups that are relevant to the job you want. Where do your connections hang out? Where do the decision makers hang out? What groups are they in? You join those groups. So you join groups around where you want to grow your career, not around about how to make a parrot or look after a parrot. And believe me, these groups do exist. We're building a business asset. You should also build your own group, and I'm going to take you through what you should do. The functions on LinkedIn are all very, very simple, but I'm going to take you through what you should do when you build a group. Your vanity URL we've done. The more activity and interaction you have on LinkedIn, the more you're going to get rewarded. And of course, what you should also be doing in the footer of your emails, you should be adding your LinkedIn URL. So now you've got a vanity URL. Now you've got, it could be Java developer. You're going to add that to the footer of your email, so you're going to drive more traffic to it. So this is also key in you ranking on LinkedIn. So we've looked at the primary steps. Now these are the secondary steps. So you need to ensure that these are all in place as well. Now if you do all of this, you'll be in the top 1% bar none. But I'm just taking you through the different elements that will make your profile get seen by more people. So you need to implement these things now. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to take you through where you place your keyword. So your keywords, and we're going to keep this very simple. I'm going to say Java development. LinkedIn has a keyword density score. There are 5 areas on your profile where you get rewarded for placing your keyword, and LinkedIn ranks them differently. So, depending on which report you read and which tests you run, around about 30 to 40% of your keyword density score, i.e. the higher you come at the rankings, is given from your headline. So you need to have your keyword in your headline a number of times. Now you can either write your headline, so in my case, I've obviously got recruitment as a keyword. So what I recommend you do is you take your keyword, and you can either have your keyword in here with it could be a role, it could be some experience you've got, and I've used the pipe in between, or you can use some narrative, and it's completely up to you. And you could say a Java developer, experience of leading 15 teams, concurrent teams, saving the company £2.5 million, whatever the key benefit is going to be to your client. I personally prefer it when it's more bullet pointed and it's like this, because it's easy for the eye to scan, but it's completely up to you. But you have your keyword in your headline a number of times. Moving down, your summary. You place your keyword in your summary. You place it in here a number of times. So what you want to do is, you don't want it to be spammy, but you've written out your profile already. And what I want you to do is to look at how your profile looks, how many times your keyword's being used in there. Now, so that was number 2. That's the second area. So LinkedIn's keyword density score gives you a result that improves your density score if you have your keyword in your summary a number of times. Now the third area is your experience. Remember we said the job title and also the summary of your job title. So again, you need your keyword in there as well, in both the job title but also the summary. Now, I'm just quickly going to recap on those again before I want you to take note of something what not to do. So, there are 5 key areas. Number 1, your summary, your headline. Number 2, your summary. Number 3, in here, in your experience, so the title and also the summary of your experience, both for current and for past. Now what I'm going to do is just briefly show you on the page. So in there, that headline could be improved. But then in the summary, you need your keyword in here. And this gentleman's laid out as we've suggested. Then in your current title, then in your experience, you need your keywords in there. Now as I scroll down the page, remember I mentioned endorsements as well. So your keywords should also be down here. So that's how you lay out your profile. That's how you get rewarded by LinkedIn if you place your keyword in those areas, and it's really as simple as that. Now what you're going to do to test it is you're going to write your keyword in here, and you're going to see where you come, and you're going to see your results. And then what you're also going to do is get somebody else to actually test so someone else in your network, and you're going to get them to test it. So one of your friends, a colleague, you get them to join your network, and you'll see where you come in their network, and you can test where you come. But if you apply those strategies just by the content and adding your keywords there, that in itself will do more good for you than 99.9% of your competition. Now please take note, this is what not to do. See, this person here has been quite spammy. So they've put their keyword as social media, and they've added it a number of times in the headline, a number of times in the profile, and they've added it down here, just copied and pasted it. That's not the way to do it. LinkedIn may actually ban you for having an account like this. So that's the way not to do it. What you need to do is find a happy balance. So as you can see here, this is not the way to do it. So if you do this in itself, it will set you apart from you being the 1%. You simply apply the steps as you've laid out there. It's as simple as that. Please work through the worksheet as I've laid out, and you'll then get the results as I've laid out. We'll see you in webinar 2.